We are on to the very last proverb of Mitchie's opening concepts book, the very last chapter. And I have to say, it's a hell of a chapter. I think it's probably going to take me about 4 videos to do it in completeness sake. Um, it is advanced play, it is a very specific topic. And you could say, well, look, for the sake of a specific topic, we might do it in a rush and kind of just put it behind us and be kind of glad to be shot of the book. But what I've noticed is if you make this play when you shouldn't, it's a big blunder. But if you fail to make the play when you should, it's also a big blunder. So it can have a huge impact on your PR. So what I'm planning to do is to do this video, a little introduction to what is meant by double tiger play. Follow that up with more examples from Mitchie and also from Dan Rivera, who's very good in this section, in a kind of part 2 video. Part 3, I've kind of gone through all my backgammon textbooks as usual, and it come as no surprise because they've kind of come up quite a few times in this kind of set of videos. The 2 people who've kind of really stood out for me are Dirk Schiemann does a section on the double tiger play, and Bill Roberti in his new books on the opening series does a great kind of analysis of it as well. So I think what I'm going to do is this video to introduce it, next video to give you more examples and Dan Rivera's analysis, a video from Dirk Schiemann and a video about Bill Roberti, and there's 4 videos. So we're not quite finished Mitchie's opening concepts book yet, but I think it's worth doing right because, as I said, the effect on PR is massive if we get it wrong. So we're looking at double tiger play, and before we get into that, we need to just, I suppose, explain what is the terminology we're talking about here, because there's terms over the course of these videos. We've come across tiger play before. We need to explain exactly what everything is. So the first thing is there's a concept called double hitting, and double hitting is not tiger play. Double hitting simply means just when you hit 2 of your opponent's checkers and put them both in the bar. So I just pick this as an example, very easy example. We've rolled a 6 and a 4. As usual, we're white and we're bearing into the bottom right. And if you look at the top right, there are 2 rear checkers there. Well, we can use the 4 to come forward with that and hit one of black's checkers. And if we keep that going again, another 6, we'll hit a second of black checkers. We've put it in the bar. That's called double hitting. Not tiger play yet. It's just a general double hitting. Tiger play is double hitting, but the key thing about tiger play is that it comes at the cost. You're leaving a blot on your home board. That's what tiger play is. And I said Mitchie has done one of his early proverbs. Oh, I haven't got the book with me now, but it's proverb number. Let me just lash it out and have a quick look at it. Proverb. Proverb number 6 is to double hit is tiger play. So with this tiger play, we're going to leave a blot on our home board. There's 2 types of tiger play. The strong tiger play, where we leave a blot on the board on a point. We leave that blot where we want to make the point. So it's usually going to be our 5 point or possibly our 4 point. And again, here's an example here. So we have a checker on the bar. We roll a 5, which is fantastic because we can hit black's blot up there in the top right, coming in with the 5. We hit black and put him in the bar. What do we do with the 1? When you look around, you could maybe nudge your rear checker forward. I'm not sure why you would, but there's an obvious thing to do here. 2 in the bar is better by far, as they say. If you look down the bottom right, we've a big mountain on our 6 point. We know we want to unstack the mountain. We know we want to fight for that 5 point. So by coming 6 to 5, we put black on the bar, and we've double hit, and we've left the blot in our home board. So that's tiger play. And because we want to make that 5 point, that's strong tiger play. As opposed to weak tiger play, where we leave in the blot on the point we don't want to make. And you might say, well, why would you do that? Well, there's one obvious example just at the start of the game. Black has rolled a 5-1 and has come down from the midpoint and split at the back. We rolled a 4-1, and I don't know if you remember what the correct move of the 4-1 to do here is. The correct move is to double hit. So we go down the bottom right there. We unstack the big stack on our 6 point with the 4. We hit black and with the bar. Keep going with the 1 and put a second on the bar. We've completely deprived black of a roll. Their entire roll next go, unless they roll doublets, is going to be just coming in off the bar. So it gives us a lot more momentum. That's the right way to do it. But that our white blot there in the bottom right, is on a weak point, and a point we don't particularly want to make. It's still the right move to do, but Mitchie calls this weak tiger because it's not particularly, he, if you don't remember, he said, like, we have to cover that lot as soon as we can. But even if we cover it successfully and black doesn't come in and hit us, it's not really, it's out of the game for the rest of the game. It's buried too deep. So for that reason, he calls this a weak tiger play. But now we move on to the double tiger play. So we've had strong tiger, we've had weak tiger, and this final proverb is about double tiger play. And what he means by double tiger play is, yes, we double hit, as you know what that means, but now we leave 2 blots in our home board. So we double hit and give our opponent 2 chances of hitting us. So here's a situation that he starts off with his example. We've rolled a 2 and a 1. You could take one of your back checkers there, or both your back checkers, and kind of nudge them forward, but it's too passive and achieves nothing. And don't forget, we want to fight for the good points. And look at Black. Black has played what Bill Roberti calls the Middle Eastern opening with the 4-3. They've come out with both their rear checkers. They're going to kind of take control of the game if we don't do something to fight them for those good points that they're on already. So we really want to hit them. So you could hit 6-5 and put Black in the bar, and then you might say, well, look, up at the top left there, our stack on the 13 point, maybe bring one of them down to the 11 point, gives us better chance of covering the 5 next go if it's not hit. But there's a better thing we can do with the 2. We'll put that checker back there, that we can double hit again. Now, that looks suicidal. You're kind of saying, oh my lord, we're leaving 2 blots in our home board. Black's got rolls next go. There's a very good chance they're going to roll a 4 or 5 and hit us. Surely that's suicidal. But it all comes down to, Gary Koscielny in Sunny Florida Backgammon Club says this proverb comes down to shot counting. And Mitchie makes a big play about this as well. You've got to be able to count your shots. And there's loads of different ways you can think about shot counting. Gary Koscielny starts off with a grid like this and says, well, identify which rolls are going to hit us. I don't think I'm going to be sitting down in the middle of the game and even mentally visualizing a grid like this. So for me, I forget that. And for me, it's just a few basic rules can really help. I presume you're aware by now that there's 36 possible rolls of a die. When you roll 2 dice, there's 36 different possible combinations. 6 on one dice multiplied by 6 on the other dice. But it's just worth bearing in mind that if you want to roll a particular combination, say you want a 4 and a 5, well, you can either have 4 and 5 on those 2 dice, or you can have 5 and 4. One dice can show the 4, one dice can show the 5. So there's 2 possible ways you can do it. And if you want to kind of roll a 4 to 5, there's 2 ways of doing it. If you want to roll a double, well, then you need the same number. If you want, double ones, it has to be a 1 on both dice. There's only one way you can do that. But then these next things just worth reminding you of. If you want to roll a specific number, so say you say we want to roll a 5. Well, out of the 36, if you roll 2 dice, out of the 36 possible combinations, 11 will have a 5 in them. If you want to roll one of 2 numbers, so you want to say I want to roll a 1 or a 2, well, then there's a little pattern developing here. It's 11 plus 9, so there's 20 rolls out of 36. Will roll you one of 2 numbers, and if it's one of 3 numbers, so you say I want to roll a 1 or a 2 or a 3. Look at the pattern now. It's 11 plus 9 plus 7, and it's a very rigid arithmetic progression. So in other words, if you want to go to one of 4 numbers, it'd be 11 plus 9 plus 7 plus 5. But just worth bearing that in mind when you're doing the shot counting. It'll make things much quicker for you. And in this situation here, this was the safe play where we said we're not going to double hit because that would be suicidal. Well, how many ways could we be hit back by Black? Well, if they roll a 5, clearly they're going to hit us. And we know that there's 11 ways they can roll a 5. But there's other things they could roll as well. If you look at the Black checker down the bottom right, the little blot there, if they roll something with a 1, they can nudge that forward and hit us that way either. And so they can roll a 4-1, or a 3-1, or a 2-1, or a double 1. So the ones where there's 4-1, 3-1, 2-1, there's 2 chances of each of those. The double ones is only 1 chance. So there's 7 ways they can hit us by rolling a number with the 1. So now they're up to 18 ways they can hit us. And then you have to kind of go through the numbers and see, is there anything else they can hit us with? Well, a 6 isn't going to work. A 5 isn't going to work. 4 isn't going to work. 3, well, yes, if they roll a 3-2, they hit us as well. So now we've got 11 5s, 7 more that include something with a 1, and then a 3-2, which is 2 possibilities. So they can hit us 20 different ways down the bottom there as it stands. And Mitchie also makes the point that there's another 8 rolls where they can make their 4-point. So they roll a 4 and a 6, or a 4 and a 3, or a 4 and a 2, or double 2s and things like that. They can make their 4-point. So they're in a lovely position that they're going to have. They have 20 rolls that can hit us, or another 8 rolls that'll make their 4-point. Either way, that's good for them. So that's what happens if we play this, what looks like the safe way. If we play the more complicated way, they can hit us with a 5, which we know is 11 ways, or a 5 and a 4, which adds another 9 on, so we've now got to 20. Or they can't hit us with double 1s, they can hit us with double 2s. So they can hit us 21 ways. So think about it. The safe way, they can hit us 20 ways, or make their 4-point with another 8. What looks like suicidal way, it's only 21 ways to hit us. So they literally get one more shot out of 36 of hitting us this way, but they don't make their 4-point. And if they don't hit us, we're really strong. So for that reason, the double hit, the double tiger play where we leave 2 blots is the right way. And as I said to you, I always find that these double tiger situations, getting it wrong always seems to be a blunder as far as XG is concerned. So I'm going to give you just a few more examples of positions that come from Mitchie's book. A 4 and a 1. Well, you look at this and think, well, we could come down with the 4 and play 13 to 8, but it's again too passive. We give all the momentum to our opponent. We don't want to do that, so we forget that idea. We could say, well, look, we'll hit with 6 to 5 and then maybe bring 13 to 9 to come down there. Think about how many ways we know from the last example, that a position like this on the bottom right in our quadrant leaves 20 shots to our opponent. But also now our opponent can roll 3 6s, and they've got 22 chances of hitting us. If we leave it like that, they've got 22 chances out of 36 of hitting us, which is just worth bearing in mind. We could say, well, look, we come down with 6 to 5 and then play one at the back. I haven't even counted it, but look at it. Now they've got things like 3s, 1s, as well as hitting us with a 5 or a number in a 1. 3 start to hit us, double 4 start to hit us. We're hugely at risk of being hit in the next go with that one. But if we put that back, the other use of the 4, we could play 8 to 4. And we know that leaves, 21 shots. So even though it looks unsafe, that's actually as safe as pretty much anything else when you do the shot counting. And for that reason, again, it's the right play. We're just too vulnerable otherwise. Here's a position that looks potentially crazy, but we've 3 blots up the top there, and we're kind of probably want to make them safe. Well, we can use the 3 up the top left there. The checker on our 16-point, the 3 can tidy that up. There's no great use of the 4, but probably the simplest thing is to roll that forward 4. Let's see what hits us here. Well, we get hit by any 2. Black's going to hit us from their midpoint, so there's 11 rolls hit us there. Or looking down, Black's checkers down the bottom right there, the first one will hit us with a 9. So there's 4, 6, 3 and 4, 5. So there's 4 more. So we're going from 11 to 15. The second checker will hit us with a 10. There's 3 chances of rolling a 10. So now we're up, 15 plus 3 is 18. So there's certainly 18 chances for that checker on our 14-point to be hit. Plus we have, anything with a 5 up the top there is going to hit us. So that's another, that's certainly about 8 more rows going to hit us up the top there. So we're up to about 8 chances of being hit up the top there. Whereas if we just go, it looks suicidal, 8 to 4 hits and 8 to 5 hits. We've left 5 blots. Everything human in us says, don't leave so many blots around the board. Surely that has to be wrong. But it is. That leaves us, we know that leaves Black 21 shots. The others are just so vulnerable that even though it's scary looking, that's the right move. And look again, big blunder if we try to do something else. Finally, I just want to show you one other position and a few variants of it, where again the double hits, the double tiger, double hitting and leaving 2 blots on a home board is right. So we could, I have to admit, before this chapter, I'd looked at that and thought, well, look at my blot on my 8 point. I can come down 3-2 and make that safe. Surely that's not a bad thing. But just go back to the starting position and look at the defining characteristics of this position. Who's got the stronger home board? We do. Who's got the more checkers back? We do. So we need to be a little bit more creative. And you could say, well, look, up the top there, if we use the 3 up the top to go from our 23 point to our 20 point, we've made the golden anchor. We've got the golden point, our 5 point in our own home board. Surely that strengthens it up, and it does. And we could come down 6-4 even and say, well, we'll be a bit adventurous and take a hit. Yes, that's not bad, but we can be even more adventurous than that. We're behind in the race, so we want to try and turn things around if we can at all. So instead, we can hit with the 3 down the bottom, play 6-3 and hit black's checker. Sorry, we have to use the 2 there in the first, and then hit with the 3. We can double hit. Black comes in if they roll a 4, which is 11 rolls, or a 3, which adds 9 more, which is 20, or double 1s will hit us this time, or double 2s. So 22 chances of hitting us there. But if they don't hit us, we've turned the game around. If they don't hit us, we can cover those, and suddenly, we're so far ahead, we're actually doubling. We're going from a position of being behind to actually doubling. And again, clearly the right move to make. But I'd looked at that position and I thought, well, do you know what the reason for that is? I was thinking as I looked at, I thought the reason for that is because our home board we've made our 5 point. We're a little bit stronger. Black is such a weak home board up the top right there. They've nothing to, we've nothing to lose. So I said that's why the double hit is right. And I just played with it around. And I took some of Black's checkers up in the top there, and I just moved them into their home board and gave Black a much stronger board. And I thought, nah, now you wouldn't double hit. It's just too risky. And I put it into XG. Still a blunder not to double hit. It's very clear. So, as I said, that's the first of probably 4 videos about the double tiger play. I'm sorry I'm going to, as I've said in several times, I use these videos to make notes for myself, to learn about the game. And I want to learn this concept fully. And it's going to take that amount of time. I think Dirk Sheeman and Bill Roberti's books are just brilliant, and I want to kind of go into them as well. I want to show you some more of the Mitchie examples, and for that reason, there'll be more of these double tiger videos coming shortly.